Okay, I'm going to come around. One of the problems with being almost 92 is that I have to remind myself that most of you are too young to know things that I simply remember. And to give you an illustration, I first came to Roanoke when the Lowy rebuilding of the passenger station had just started, and the old concourse that ran across to the farmers market was still in service. As a matter of fact, it had to be in service because the new concourse had just been started. I remember seeing brown roofs and green trucks on passenger cars. I saw the McDowell County the first time it ran from New York to Williamson. And last week, somebody on Facebook has been posting pictures of Welch, AI restored, but pretty good. And last week, they posted a picture of Tug Tower. And one of the comments was, "What was Tug Tower?" I'm wearing the shirt that belonged to my uncle, Alexander Campbell Scott, who was the operator at Tug Tower. Okay. I thought I would do this chronologically, but the problem with doing it chronologically is which chronology are we dealing with? And basically what I'm dealing with chronologically is when I became aware of certain things, but not necessarily the first time I did a model. So to begin chronologically, this is the Vista Verde. How many of you know what that is?
Something green.
Stoney knows. What is it, Stoney?
That was the unstreamlined car on the back of the Tennessee.
Right. Pat Ryan and I became aware that when the Tennessean began in 1941, they had a square-end observation car because they anticipated running a Pullman from Bristol to Memphis. But very early on, the Pullman car ran from Washington to Memphis, which meant there was no point in putting observation windows in the square-end observation car because it was never the last car on the train. But Southern would not spring for a lightweight car for the Pullman. So Pullman supplied them with a 10-section, 3 double-bedroom car, which was one of the betterment cars. And the only concession to the fact that it was running on the Tennessean was they painted it silver. Pat Ryan and I became interested in this car because the only thing you could get then was a Rivarossi 12.1. And the 10.3 was an entirely different animal. So for the longest time, we didn't know what it looked like anyway. But somebody found a picture in Tom Dressler's collection of the car running out of Bristol. So we had a start. And then Railroad Model Craftsman actually gave drawings of it, so we knew what the other side looked like. So I took a Rivarossi car and some windows from another Rivarossi car and the NEC roof bubble and built the car and sent it to Pat Ryan. And Pat Ryan, bless his heart, put an interior in it made decals, painted and lettered it, added diaphragms, marker lights, all that jazz, and sent it back to me because he said, I don't model the Bristol line. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass these things in the box, but feel free to take it out of the box to examine it if you want to. And this one is not going to be given away at the end because I already promised it to Ron Flattery. But pass it and take a look. And what I want you to try to understand is, when you look at it, is how did we put that together? Because you can do that. I can teach you. Okay, chronologically, the next thing is that in 1948, when the railroads bought the Pullman Company, N&W, for their share, bought some 12-1 sleepers and a couple of 10-1-1 cars, which has recently been on the mailing list, I guess, and somebody misidentified where they ran. They did not run on the Pocahontas. They ran on the trains 1 and 2 on the Shenandoah Valley. But I don't have a model of one of those, but what I do have is the branch line kit, which I have built up for one of the 12-1 cars.
What was the date on that car? Just the one?
The one that you just passed, it began running on the N&W in 1941.
41.
Yeah. And these cars were bought in 48, and they didn't get painted red immediately. And I think at least one of them probably never did get painted red, but and that's an argument we have with somebody else. But I'm of the opinion that no, it was green. Okay. In December 1948, and regardless of whoever you saw said 1949, it's not right. December 48, the N&W got 3 10-6 cars from Pullman that were identical to Pensy cars. The only thing different was the lettering. And one of them ran from Norfolk to New York. One ran from Roanoke up the Shenandoah Valley to New York. And one of them ran from Williamson to New York by way of Lynchburg. They alternated with Pensy cars. And the one that ran from New York to Williamson through Bluefield was the McDowell County. And the one that ran to Norfolk was the Sussex County. It all makes sense. But the one that ran from Roanoke up the Shenandoah Valley was the Buchanan County. And Buchanan County is nowhere near there. Buchanan, Virginia is on that route, but Buchanan County, no. Yeah.
They were painted the Pensy Tuscan too, weren't they?
Yeah. Everything was Pensy about them except the lettering. They had black roofs and black trucks.
Not dark brown roof?
No. And when I first saw them, not having any other information, I thought, oh, is this the way our stripes are going to be? Okay. Now, in 1989, I did a review for the Era for the brass car sides, and Stoney got it. I guess you've still got it. Was it the Buchanan County?
No, you gave me a Sussex.
You
gave me a Sussex.
Oh, was it Sussex? Okay. Anyway, I did a review, and so when I sent my review back to the editor said thank you and kept the car. But In those days, that was the only way to get an accurate Pullman built 10.6, because the Rivarossi car has one too many aisle windows. It's a model of the ACF car. And I think there are some interior details that are different, but you wouldn't have that anyway. So,
We commissioned the brass car sets.
yeah, okay. Later on, wait a minute, I've lost my track here. Okay. Later on, the way you could get that was Laser Horizons made a set of sides. And these are on an Eastern Car Works or E&B Valley, take your choice, core kit. That's going to be given away.
But they didn't do the belt rail.
They didn't do the belt rail.
They didn't do the belt rail.
I decided I could make a better sides than Laser Horizons did. And so this is the same deal, except it's got scratch-built sides. And if you want to know how to scratch-built sides, I have got one here that you can see the various steps as I cut it out. And I will be glad to describe that to you. You lay it out on the reverse side because that side is going to get all kinds of mistakes. And if you do it well, you won't carry any of those mistakes over to the good side. So you'll end up with a good looking outside for the car. Now, after that, bless their hearts, Walthers made the Penske car. And I believe maybe they have done some in N&W. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. Well, when I got this one, and I don't remember now who I got it from, it was painted in Penn Central green. And I have made it as a proper Buchanan County.
That particular car has had more correct paint schemes than any other Pullman car ever.
Okay.
There's like 18 different correct paint schemes for that car.
18.
Yeah.
Which car?
The Buchanan County, Sussex County, and McDowell County.
And the reason Stoney knows this is he owns one of those cars. And so he has researched it. Now, those cars, because N&W had more Pullmans than they needed, were leased to the Illinois Central for a time and painted in IC colors. But in '64, when they sold the S1s, they still were operating Pullman cars, so they got them back from the IC, and they eventually got repainted, and eventually the Sussex County, at least, made it into blue. And if I remember correctly, this is a pair of Walthers sides on Eastern Car Works core, and all the underbody is scratch built. And you can't have that one because I've already promised it to my friend Gene. Okay, now we go to the S1. And a little side note here, the S2s came first and the S1s came second. Why?
Blood delivery's good.
You got to understand the N&W. Apparently, when the S2s came, they didn't see any need to give a class to those cars. I mean, they weren't even N&W cars to start with. They owned them, they lettered them, but they had nothing to do with designing them. So when the S1s came, they had figured out, yeah, let's give them a class. So they became the S1s, and then they said, well, what about these other cars? So they became S2s, all right? Actually, there's a history on that. When the quad hoppers that the HUs that they built during the 20s were rebuilt into triple hoppers, the new car was the H2 and the rebuilt car was the H3. But I think some of the H3s got rebuilt before they had any new H2s. Same thing happened with rebuilt tenders. But I will not go into all details on that, but N&W, that was not the first time that N&W gave the first class to the later thing. Okay, when the S2s came, we didn't have any way to do an S2, and finally Sam Putney got some brass S2s imported, and if you can find one today, you're very lucky.
I had the S1s imported.
Pardon?
I had the S1s imported.
I mean the S1s, yeah. I'm sorry.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, the S1s, Sam Putney got them done in brass, and if you can find one today, you're a very lucky person. At that time, I did not believe that I could buy brass. I later found out that if I could build for other people and charge, I could buy brass.
Well, Jim, I can't buy one now. I've seen it on eBay.
Oh, well, I probably can't. Well, I could, but I wouldn't. I'm too cheap. So at that time, there wasn't a lot of choice in Bud-roofed passenger cars in HO available easily. The closest thing that we could work with was the Athearn car, which is too short. So I got two of them, and I did a little splicing on the roof. And the ends were Athearn ends, and the floor was an Athearn floor, but everything else you see here is scratch built. And you can't have that.
Well, Jim, just another little note. My brass cars look pretty crude now. Walters has a better car now, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of the Walters car, it occurred to me when River Rossi brought out a 10.6 car with the Bud roof that if I could use that as a starting point by removing the corrugations under the windows. But the aisle windows are in the wrong place. But fortunately, the Walters car, the aisle windows are in the right place. So believe it or not, people, if you're good with an X-Acto chisel blade and sandpaper, you can remove the corrugations under the windows, which I did. And the skirts, of course, are wrong, but I'm good at scratch building, so I scratch built the skirts. And this is the complete now kit. I hadn't put it back together for whatever reason. And that's going to be given away. But it occurred to me that since I liked scratch built, when the Concours roof became available, we had an 85-foot car roof in Bud. The ends of the Concord were not all that good, but I found a few Athearn ends, which are not correct either, but better. And so with Athearn ends and Concord roof and everything else is scratch built, I did 2 S1s, which I have not bothered to paint, and these will be given away. And finally, at my suggestion, NKP Carr did sides for the S1. And they did them to go on a Concord, not a Concord, to go on a Eastern Car Works core, which is too short. It's exactly 1/8 inch too short. And I recently came in possession of some Concords. Concords. And so I just shortened it 1/8 inch, which meant I had to move one truck kingpin. But I removed the Concord sides and used the NKP Carr sides. And the underbody, because of the Concord floor, is not accurate. Not everything is in exactly the right place, but I dare you to tell me what's wrong. And so the underbody is basically scratch built. And that car will be given away.
So what did you think of that project? Would you do it again, or was that the easy?
Yeah, I'd do it again. As a matter of fact, I've still got another set of sides that Jim Brewer gave me. And so at some point, with another Concord roof, I'll shorten it 1/8 inch and build another one.
Should have brought all of mine.
Okay, now, chronologically, you think, well, why are we back to heavyweights? And the reason we're back to heavyweights chronologically is that after the S1s were delivered, and I watched them replace 1, 2, and 3 car lines on the Pocahontas, the 10-section lounge cars, which N&W had never bought, were kept, Norfolk to Chicago, painted Tuscan red with stripes in 1950, lettered Pullman, and that's where they ran. So, how do you do that one?
Those are some of the ones that could made around.
Okay, wait a minute.
Those two we already did.
I've got another S2 here.
They put them in your table and maybe
I
messed
brought
up
that.
your order.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Trying to mess you up.
All right. If I remember, yeah. No. I was going to say this was a River Rossi, but it's not. It's a kit bash of the branch line. And you can't have this because it all, no, that's not even what I'm looking at. This is the Sunstar Rose.
They go to your left, and that's the ones you haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, okay. Okay, somebody has sent something back, and that's what's confused me. All right, okay. All right, now, this started out as 10-1, and the, that's the NEC roof bubbles on it, yeah. But anyway, I redid the windows and redid the blind end, and this belongs to Grant Carpenter, and it is the Nansemond County because he has some affection for that part of Virginia. And you can't have this because this is Grant's. But I decided that I could do the same thing with a branch line kit. It's a little trickier to do the windows with the branch line, and the roof is a little trickier. And I got this far with the Appomattox County, and for whatever reason, I got involved in other projects at that point. So if you take this one home, you will have to put the rest of it back together yourself. But as I've said before, it's free.
Can't argue with free.
You can't argue with free. Okay. Has anybody got any question about what I have shown you up to this point? Yeah.
You said the aisle windows, is that what you're talking about? I don't know the words you're using.
Okay, aisle, A-I-S-L-E, aisle windows.
Okay.
The ACF cars have 4 windows on the aisle side of the bedrooms.
Okay.
The Pullman-built cars have 3.
The hallway does this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Jim, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Are these boxes scratch built?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they are. Or you could say they're kit bashed.
Let's say what boxes to start with.
Yeah, they were boxes to start with.
So I have a question on the scratch-built sides.
Uh-huh.
So you removed the sides from the original car. How did you do that?
With a zona saw,
Okay.
yeah. And a lot of patience. And depending on how well you're able to do that, you may want to put in a floor on top of the floor of the proper width.
Okay.
You following what I'm saying? If you do it very carefully, you're just losing 050. But if you don't do it very carefully, you may be losing more than that. And so, depending on the rebuild, I may put a floor on top of the floor to get the sides at the right point. Yeah.
Measure your car before you cut the sides off. And then when you get it and put it back together, you say, I'm this much short. You put the slide, put that much more. I do it a little different. I just put like 10,000s or 20,000s.
Oh yeah.
A 20,000 times 30,000s on each side of the thing, file it smooth. But just the key is measuring what you.
Let me give you a tip on that. You can just put a little more plastic on there. And when I started out, back when Dean Freitag was still alive, when you went to Kroger, cottage cheese lids were polystyrene. They aren't anymore. But that got to be a thing between me and Dean. And so Dean sent me some sheet styrene. He had pity on me. But yeah, I still got some that Dean sent me. Okay, but if you get the round takeout, like if you go to Captain D's and they give you green beans in a little styrofoam with a plastic lid, that plastic lid is polystyrene. And it's about 050, and oh man, it's free.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
But let me explain the aisle windows thing a little more. So this is the bedroom side. And the bedrooms are paired with lengthwise bed, lengthwise bed, lengthwise bed, crosswise bed, lengthwise bed. And that's why you end up with the paired windows here. So there's a linen closet right here, but this is where the aisle changes from the center down between all the roomettes and the bedrooms, which are all on this one side. Okay, now, if you look at the S2 and you look at these windows, Bud had 3 different variations of windows. Either these windows were next to bedrooms A, C, and E, or they were next to B, D, or F, unless you were on the California Zephyr, and they did all 6. But on a 4140 car, those windows don't line up with any windows on the other side. I call it the we hate everybody car, but it's really the only one that's right. If you're sitting in the bedroom and you're looking across the aisle out the window, you don't want it straight across because you're going to have to cran your neck like this all the time. The way these are set up, you can see straight out the windows because they're all at the right angle.
Okay.
Well thought out. It's like they knew what they were doing, maybe.
No, it's what they finally learned to do.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah.
On the branch line kits, I tried to put the trucks together and they're impossible.
Yeah. Let me give you a tip. I have learned how to put them together. Get a slightly bigger drill bit and core the holes. The branch line kit, their instruction is that if you put your liquid cement on, that will lubricate the pin so it'll go in the hole. Hell no. That is no way that I'm going to put something together. I want to make damn sure it fits before I put any liquid cement on it. So what I have learned to do is with my slightly larger drill bit, I core those holes. And then I can put it together, and then I can put the liquid cement and let capillary action put it together. No, they are a bear to put together, but I have learned how to do it.
And you do it opposite of the way you think you ought to do it.
Well, there are some things I do to branch line kits that are not in the instructions, and one of them has to do with the couplers. But if anybody wants to know, I'll talk to you privately about that, because not everybody needs to know how you put the couplers on a branch line kit. Okay.
This S2's got the wrong trucks on it.
Pardon?
S2's got the wrong trucks on it.
Oh, yeah. I admit it.
But they make,
But you have to understand that I was working with what I had.
no, this is the Walters one.
Oh, that's the Walters? Oh, yeah. Yeah, only Stoney would know that those are the wrong trucks. And only Stoney can tell you what's wrong with them.
Maybe. Yeah, because they were built for the Pensy, and the Pensy didn't like the way the swing hangers were sprung.
Yeah.
Pensy's swing hangers have got frictions instead of shock absorbers.
Yeah.
No shock absorbers on the Pensy.
And Walters did not bother to.
But they did make the truck, but they didn't put it on the car.
Oh, okay.
It's available on other cars.
Oh, okay. All right.
Naturally, oh, we wouldn't want that to be correct.
The shock absorbers were a Pensy thing or an N&W thing?
No, the Pensy didn't like shock absorbers, so they
like
went with
just
the,
friction leads.
yeah,
Why would you not like them? Is it a maintenance issue?
a maintenance issue. And
Because it's
it
Pensy.
actually made them ride better. Worked perfectly good for,
Well, on the subject of maintenance issues, it is generally conceded that modern locomotives have the multiple bearing crossheads. And the first 5 J's did.
right.
But after that, no, all alligators after that. It's a maintenance issue. And N&W, bless their hearts, they went with the low maintenance. Same deal with the A's. First 10 A's have the multiple bearings, and the rest of them are alligators. Okay, anybody else?
Are those the only steam that had that?
Hmm?
The A's and the J's, the only ones that had multiple bearings?
Yeah, they're the only N&W engines that had multiple bearings, yeah.
Oh, you don't count that one.
The first 5 J's and the first 10 A's. And after that, they went back to alligators. And it was maintenance. The other thing that's peculiar about N&W, which is not true of all roads, is once they made a modification that worked, every engine in the class got it. Yeah. And that's why Y5s had the valve to admit live steam to the front engine. The booster, yeah. Y5's got them.
That was the, that's why I remember that one.
Okay. For those of you who are N&W after 1964, this was an IHC 24 duplex roomette. Santa Fe was the only road that ever got any of them. So if you're modeling anybody else, it's useless. The other deal is that Walthers made the C&O 10.6, but the C&O car, and Walthers was correct, has one less corrugation at the top than any other Pullman car with stainless steel sides. The nickel plate cars did not go the C&O route. They got the corrugations all the way up. So I took my useless 24 duplex roomette car and scratch built the tops of the sides to do the nickel plate car. And this was going to be the city of Kokomo. And the reason it was going to be the city of Kokomo was that I know, for having seen it, that it was painted with Tuscan red letterboards. And I saw it come through Bluefield with Tuscan red letterboards. After that, the ones that they kept all got the blue boards, but the city of Kokomo had Tuscan red letterboards, and that one's going to be given away. Now, I've put rubber bands around this one because the floor kept falling off. But the Wabash had a group of Union Pacific design sleepers. 14 and 4, is that what they were? Yeah. And the ones that ran in UP colors on the city of St. Louis were painted in Wabash colors. Painted in UP colors of the yellow and gray with red stripes, and were Western Series cars. The other cars were painted solid blue and were Blue Series cars. The Western Sunset, painted blue, ran on the Pocahontas right up to the end. After Amtrak and N&W didn't run passenger cars anymore, they modified the Western Sunset by taking out one roomette and putting a shower in its place, and renamed it Hollins College, which had been an S1, which had been gone for 7 years. So I guess they figured the name was still available. So they named it the Hollins College, and it remained in business car service for the Norfolk and Western, and painted Norfolk and Western colors, Tuscan red with the gold stripes and so forth. And so with the Eastern Car Works core kit and scratch-built sides and most of the underframe scratch-built, I have done the Hollins College, and that one's going to be given away. Okay, any other questions?
Can you remind us of what the numbers mean? 10, 3?
Okay, yeah. All right. The most common number is 12-1, and that's 12 sections and 1 drawing room. A 10-3 car is 10 sections and 3 double bedrooms. The double bedrooms replace other space in what would possibly a 12-1 car to start with. But when you get to 10-6, 10 doesn't mean sections anymore. 10 is roomettes, and 6 is double bedrooms. We use the numbers because it's easier to give the numbers than it is to write out bedrooms, sections, roomettes, compartments, all that business. And most people who are into this know what the code is. But it's not obvious.
It's definitely not.
No, okay.
You just have to, kind of got to know it.
But a 10-6 car is always 6 bedrooms and 10 roomettes. That's one you can always be sure when you see 10-6 that that's what we're talking about. A 12-1 car is always 12 sections and 1 drawing room. You can be sure of that. But some of the others, you're not quite sure. A 10-1-1 car is the old heavyweight system. It's 10 sections, 1 double bedroom, and 1 drawing room, okay? But it's the old kind of double bedroom. It is not the kind you would find in a lightweight car, but it is still a double bedroom. It's a 10-1-1 car. But they also made 10-1-2 cars, and a lot of them. And it's 10 sections, 1 drawing room, and 2 double bedrooms, which gave them more revenue space, but it gave the passengers less lounge space to get dressed and shave and all that business. But they were very popular on the New York to Florida run, 10-1-2 cars. And then there are intricate variations when you get into the betterment cars. Pullman did all kinds of rebuilds.
6.3s.
Yeah.
Elms.
Yeah, well, even in lightweight cars, you have 6 sections, 6 roomettes, and 4 double bedrooms. And that's a 6-4-6 car. But how do you know which 6 is which?
What's a roomette versus a double bed?
Yeah, roomette versus a section.
Yeah, a roomette is an accommodation.
The sections survived, as I understand it, because if you were traveling on government money, they would not pay for anything above a section.
Anything above a lower.
Yeah, a lower.
For clarification, section is, what is a section?
A section is a lower berth and an upper berth.
That makes into facing seats.
Facing seats, the lower makes into facing seats, or facing seats make into the lower, and the upper folds down from above. And even in the lightweight cars, it's basically the same arrangement of a section and a heavyweight car. It's just a little more modern, but same deal.
But no hallway wall, just only a curtain.
Yeah, you only have a curtain.
They still got them on the Canadian.
Yeah.
What's a drawing room?
A what?
Drawing room.
A drawing room is an enclosed room meant to sleep 3 that has its own annex, its own bathroom.
Oh, you're talking about a drawing room. Yeah, okay.
Is that the only one that would have a bathroom, its own?
The drawing room has its own bathroom. It's the only heavyweight car that has a separate annex for the double bedrooms and the compartments have that facility in the same room that you're sleeping in. But
On the heavyweight.
on the heavyweights.
On the lightweight.
On the lightweights,
Either, if you were doing pre-war.
if pre-war, the double bedrooms don't have an annex for the toilet, but the post-war, most of the post-war cars have a separate annex for the bathroom.
Is the drawing room at the end or in the middle?
The drawing room in a heavyweight car is next to the men's lounge. It is the end bed, but it's not the end of the car because you've got the lounges on both ends. But generally that's where it is. But if you're in a 1011 car or a 1012 car, it's not at the end. The bedrooms are at the end, and the drawing room is next to the sections, always next to the sections.
So what you really need is the plan.
Oh, yeah.
4310 or.
Well, there are two different plan numbers. There's the build plan, like at 4140 for the S2s. And then there's the loading plan. If you look at a Pullman book of plans that the conductor and the porter would carry, that's a plan 185, which only describes where the rooms are in relation to the vestibule so the guy can get the luggage to the right room and the people to the right room.
There you go.
So there's more than one plan, the same way with line numbers. There's two different kinds of line numbers.
Okay, and as a bit of trivia, I've actually ridden in a lower berth with my father, who was too cheap to get me an upper. He had been told that a lower was big enough for two people, and it is barely.
In World War II in the Army, it was two guys to a lower and one guy to an upper.
Okay,
In the Navy, it was two guys to the lower, two guys to the upper.
okay.
Were the prices cheaper for the upper section?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that meant when you were writing, you got the seat that was facing backwards.
But what happened, of course, was people did not prefer the upper.
Right.
And so frequently the upper was not sold.
Right.
And that was what gave rise to the roomette. Before the roomette, there was the single occupancy section where only the lower was made up. And that was a little higher price than just a lower, yeah.
You didn't do an island series yet.
No, I have not done an island series.
You're just creating trouble.
But I will.
You will?
Okay, let me see what we got here.
You didn't do a national, haven't done a national?
A what?
A national.
No, I have not done a national, but I have a pair of sides that Jim Brewer gave me. Apparently Jim Brewer bought everything. And when he found out that he was never going to build them, he gave them to me. Okay, let me.
Did you ever build any troop cars?
Any which car?
Troop trains?
Troop carriers.
Oh, I have not built any. They are available as kits. Yeah. Okay. Oh, come on here. Well. Tim, have you ever attempted to do the silver molding around the windows? I've not done that. There are people who can, and for my own purposes, I don't think it's worth the effort. But
It's not very big.
yeah, I know. It's there are people who do it, and I admire them.
But if you're gonna go through all the trouble of doing that, there's a rubber gasket outside that too, so there's a black ring, and then you go around the silver ring.
Then there's the seal.
Oh, by the way, on that subject, the Bud cars, the S1s, did not have that silver. It was black, I guess rubber.
Yeah, it was just rubber that held
Yeah.
on the bud window.
Yeah. Okay, these are free. And I don't plan to take them home. And where did my box go? In front, okay.
In front, so you wouldn't trip over.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay, I'm finished, and you guys can come up and take what you can get.
You see my butt.